The Blaze Radio Network. On demand. Glenn Beck. It's Tuesday, August 14th. You're listening to the Glenn Beck program.
Okay, all right. Stu, I think your wife had a baby, more recently than mine did. I don't remember all the breathing techniques. Can you give me some of the... I think we all need to do this. We all need some breathing techniques, because I'm going to play some audio from Chris Cuomo that may make you feel like you're about to have a baby, even if you're a man. You may have a child go through the penile canal. It's going to be that painful. Here's Chris Cuomo last night on Antifa.
You attack cops, you slap the media, you are in the wrong, period. But I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally. In the eyes of the law, yes.
Yes.
But in the eyes of good and evil, here's the argument. If you're a punk who comes to start trouble in a mask and hurt people, you're not about any virtuous cause. You're just somebody who's going to be held to the standard of doing something wrong.
Right.
But when someone comes to call out bigots and it gets hot, even physical, are they equally wrong?
Stop!
As the bigot they are. Stop!
Shh. Okay, let me just remind CNN that you just preached to us for almost 2 weeks about how CNN sucks. Chanting CNN sucks is going to lead to violence, and how wrong it is. Now you have Chris Cuomo saying, if you show up to stop bigots, well, even if it turns violent, it's not wrong. Sure, wrong in the eyes of the law, but not wrong. Oh my. So as long as you're describing the bigot, it's okay? Is that what it is? As long as you are the arbiter of what is right and wrong, it's fine. See, I think Antifa are bigots. I think Nazis are also bigots. I think anyone who's showing up in a mask probably shouldn't be trusted. I think anyone who's showing up with a mask, maybe a baseball bat or a shiv, and they're waving red flags with the little happy A of anarchy, I don't know. I think they're dangerous. I think they're morally wrong. Just because you're standing up against the Nazis, if you're a communist thug, you are equally bad. I don't think I really did. I saw this last night. I had to pause it right there. I had to pause it. And I had to ask myself, am I man enough to listen to the rest? Am I a good enough Christian to listen, or will this forever change me? You be the judge. Here's some more.
Fighting. I argue no. Fighting against hate matters. Now, how you fight matters too. There's no question about that.
Right.
But drawing a moral equivalency between those espousing hate and those fighting it, because they both resort to violence, emboldens hate. Legitimizes hateful belief and elevates.
Stop. This is like a Sir Mix-a-Lot video. We have butts every 5 seconds. He has to continually qualify everything he's saying because it's so absurd. It's so absurd that now look, of course, every point I'm making is insane, but
Play some more.
what should be stamped out are people who go to war against an evil regime on the same moral ground as those they seek to stop from oppressing the weak.
Stop. I need some spa music or something. I need some kind of, do we have any? Can somebody put some hot rocks on my back? Maybe lava rocks. I don't care if they're 3,000 degrees. I just... Okay. So Chris is making the point that it matters because, war. Is anybody thinking we're not morally justified to go to war against, an evil regime? Well, no, but see, Chris, here's the difference. You got to give me the spa music. I'll lose my mind. Here's the difference, Chris. War is something that we all decide as a people to engage in as a nation with certain laws, the Geneva Convention, and we wear uniforms. Okay, there's a difference between mob justice and an army. It's one thing to be wrong, but it is another thing. He talks about how standing by hate legitimizes the hate. What the hell do you think you and CNN and all of your buddies are doing with Antifa? You are legitimizing them. And Chris, they hate your guts. Now, that's fine. That's fine. There's lots of people that I will stand up for their right to speak. To speak. I will stand up for that right. And I know they hate my guts. Alex Jones hates my guts, and he is no pal of mine. I don't hate him, as my mother taught. I just really dislike the things that he does. That's what separates me from the animals. That's what separates, civilization from anarchy. Hey, anarchy starts with an A, and those guys wearing black. Oh, they're wearing the A of anarchy too. But he's not finished. Here's some more. That's all you have so far. Thank God. Okay, good. Thank you. May I just play for Chris Cuomo? The peaceful protesters that just came to stand against hate. Okay, that's all they did. They stand against hate. I'd just like to play this clip from those peaceful protesters when they were asked on the street, if Donald Trump showed up now, what would you do? Go ahead.
We are asking people what they would do if President Trump were to show up at this march. Some of the answers have been pretty stunning. Here they are. What would you do if Donald Trump showed up at this rally?
I would murder him for the people.
You gotta take him down.
You gotta take him down.
If it came down to it and it was a group effort, we'd have to do him like Gaddafi.
We'd have to do him like Gaddafi.
Yeah. I'd smack him.
Smack him?
You just smack him.
I want to smack the out of him.
I want to smack the S out of him. That's great. And it goes on from there. So it's wonderful. These are just wonderful people. They're just peaceful protesters that are wearing masks saying we would drag him through the streets like Gaddafi.
Well, they were standing up to bigotry, Glenn.
You're right.
Which is morally,
you're right.
It's on a pedestal.
Right.
That's where I put it. A moral pedestal.
So again, like it was in Nazi Germany or like it is in Russia even today or in the Soviet Union in the past, or like in Iran, as long as you're the ones deciding which person to hate, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. There's no real rule of law here. There's just the rule of, oh, God, no, you're right. Chris did say, by law, but by all moral standards. Can you imagine? Because 50% of this country thought that Barack Obama was out of control, was taking us into some socialist utopia, trying to transform America and unleash this feeling of America is no good, white people are no good, it needs to be destroyed. And of course, none of that happened. We, of course, haven't heard any of that. It just started, during the 8 years of the Obama administration, coincidentally. Okay? That wasn't an organized effort by anybody on the left. No. He was fighting strong against it. It just overpowered him. Somehow or another, he was on the right side the whole time. He didn't believe any of that stuff, even though he was sitting in Jeremiah Wright's church listening to the same crap that we're now feeding our children every day, and CNN is trying to feed us every day. No, it was just a coincidence. When we pointed out that, it's not his blackness, it's something about a real disdain for the Western culture. Now it doesn't seem so crazy, does it? But if I would have gone on to Fox and said, hey, he's a fascist, like CNN is saying about Donald Trump, if I would have gone on and said he's a fascist, I did say he was planting the seeds. They were watering the flowers of fascism. I did say that. They're saying he's a fascist. And now they're on the air saying, hey, if you're standing up against fascism, well, legally there's a difference, but morally you're in the right. Could you imagine how fast I would have been yanked off the air? Could you even imagine? CNN, I know you're playing to your base. And I saw the latest Gallup poll that shows that 43% of Democrats like capitalism and 57% of Democrats like socialism. But that still leaves you with 43% of the Democrats and leaves you about 80% of the rest of the country that doesn't want to go there. What are you and your Antifa buddies going to do? Let's just say you get your way. And we have this new socialist utopia brought on by the good people of Antifa. They're just good people. They really are. They're just struggling to make ends meet. That's all they're doing. They're deep thinkers and good people. They're just a little frustrated. Oh, are they a little frustrated? Huh? It's weird that you take into consideration their frustration. Because they've been alive, a whole 18 to 22 years. And they've got so much to be frustrated about. They really do. They really do. They've got college tuition and then no hope. Oh, my gosh, that's horrible. Hey, who gave them that college tuition that they have to pay and that has indebted them? Oh, I remember them. They signed up for it. I didn't force them to sign up for it. They signed up for it. You know why I didn't go to college? Because I couldn't afford it. My parents wouldn't pay for it. And so what was I going to do? I didn't have the money. So I just went out and made it on my own. Oh, they're so frustrated. They were promised a job. Who promised them that? Oh, I remember. People like you. That's right. People like you that promised them the sky, told them that they were special, gave them all kinds of awards for doing absolutely nothing. Hey, congratulations, you came in last. And in today's class, last is first. I think it's in the Bible, but we don't read it anymore. He who comes in last is first. I think that's in the Bible. Here's your award and trophy. It was you. It was you. And you take no responsibility for it. It is our universities that are teaching that there is no truth. And that one, my friend, is on us. Because we're still sending our kids into the slaughterhouse. We are sending our children. We work so hard to keep our children on the right path, to teach our children the right things. And then we just assume that we can send them off to college because, well, I went to college and it wasn't so bad. When you went to college, it wasn't like this. I was 30 when I went to college. And you know what? It wasn't like that. And on the first day of class, I was handed a communist newspaper. It still wasn't like it is today. I don't want to come on every day and just rant about them. Because it's really not about them. As we found out yesterday, it is about us and our choices. And we can get mad and we can get outraged. We need to be aware of who these people are and what they're doing. But beyond that, it is our choice. Do we become all that we despise, or do we stand with principles and honor and integrity and courage and love? Do we stand, or do we fold because we have a short-term goal? Freedom in a republic is not found at a McDonald's. There is no freedom that comes to you easily and fast. All right, our sponsor this half hour is Casper. Oh, you know, sometimes you get up and you just really hurt and you're like, I can't go up another day. Other days you get up, you wake up and you see, oh, today's the day I've got to talk about frickin' Chris Cuomo. And you just want to go back to bed. Well, I would rather be in my Casper mattress right now than sitting here with you. Casper mattress has a remarkable mattress made out of foam that they invented, that is breathable, so it doesn't make you fires of hell hot and you're sweating all night long. And it ships for free in a box so small that you're not going to believe that it holds a mattress. You just open it up, put it on the bed, and you sleep on it for 100 nights. If you don't love it, you call them and they come and pick it up and they refund every penny, no questions asked. The way to try out a mattress to see if it's right for you is to actually sleep on it for at least a few weeks. Sleep cool and comfortable with a Casper mattress. Try yours 100 nights free. Free shipping, free returns. Go to Casper.com. Use the promo code Beck. Get $50 off the purchase of your mattress right now. That is Casper.com. Promo code Beck. Casper.com. Terms and conditions do apply. Oh, boy. Did you see also that, we're going to get to this in a minute, the judge has released the Islamic extremists that had the compound?
Yeah, well, they didn't just release them. I mean, they released him on signature bond. Yeah,
there's no bail. It's just a signature.
They had to sign their full name.
I super promise that I'm going to come back.
If they wrote half of their name, they wouldn't be able to get out. They had to write their whole name in probably cursive. I mean,
I don't know about that, and I don't know if it was if they had to do it in English. So I don't know. They might have been able to sign their name in Arabic. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the standards are anymore. You know, it feels good to be consistent. Yesterday, Gavin McInnes was on. A guy who I really want to like, and I think he's really funny, although I think that there's some things that he does that are wrong, and one of them is I happen to disagree with, we've got to throw a punch and hit them harder than they're hitting us. He believes Malcolm X was right. I believe Martin Luther King was right. That was yesterday. We had him on, and we had that discussion, and we had a civil discussion about it. Today, what is Chris Cuomo saying? He's saying the same thing. Just, I get to pick which side is right. He's picking Antifa, and he's saying, hey, if you have to throw a few punches to stop the Nazis, you're good. Same thing. Do not
Glenn
become all
Beck,
that you despise.
Mercury.
It's an interesting thing over a 2-day period to go through both of these conversations, in which you bring up Gavin McInnes yesterday, and I think probably most of the audience, I think most people on the right would agree with his take on it, which is you go into the middle of one of these things and you have to punch back when they punch you, and the idea that you make moves like that and you put yourself in those positions, right?
Yeah.
The idea of fighting, right? Like that's you want to do that because you're right, because the Bill of Rights is right, and Antifa's wrong. I think everybody in the audience agrees with that part of it. Where then you listen to Chris Cuomo today, and I think the same people probably come back and I understand it, would listen to Chris Cuomo's rant and say, Chris Cuomo's insane. How can he say those things? What do you mean you can punch back? And and use violence. It's justified in certain circumstances. Morally.
He's going further than Gavin did.
Yeah,
Gavin said you can go, and if they throw the first punch, you have a right to punch back. What Cuomo is saying is, if you're standing against a Nazi, you have a right to throw the first punch.
He didn't use those words exactly, but he said when you were there to stop bigots,
yes.
Right? And
he doesn't say that they have to hit you first. Where Gavin was very clear yesterday, they have to throw the first punch.
Yeah, it's interesting that you have both of those things back to back, because I think what you want to do, right, is to try to be as consistent as possible on those two things. And I guess this makes more of a conservative general point, in that when you have an issue that you are handling in two different ways, when one person gets to decide whether it's right or wrong.
Yes.
In this case, Cuomo decides that one side is bad and one side is good. Therefore, the actions of the side that's good are justified.
Correct.
And we can make that same point, right?
Yeah.
Like we could always say, we don't like the way this group does things, so that we get to treat them differently.
It is why there is a rule of law.
Yeah. And to Cuomo's credit, he does say legally there's no difference, but morally there is. And, that may be true. I think morally we talked about this earlier this morning. If you're in a room with Adolf Hitler, morally, you punch the guy in the face, and I don't feel all that bad about it.
Nope.
So I get it,
what he's asking, what he is condoning is a lynch mob. And remember, lynch mobs can go any direction.
Yeah, they're famously used for very negative racial purposes, but they're never a good idea, right? Like, mob justice has been very clearly, it was one of the reasons we created this country the way we did, which was to avoid as much mob justice as possible. There's not a ton of, there's not a ton of examples where those things where that turns out well. I guess Gaddafi would be the case that people would talk about as being a positive, as you remember Hillary praising it in the campaign.
Yep.
She loved it.
Yep.
We saw he's dead, right? And then you see the same thing now being echoed by almost definitely a supporter of the left, who is out there saying the same thing about Donald Trump publicly on camera. And
what's interesting is the Nazis sent their Antifa out, their brown shirts, and they all dressed in uniform, and they all beat people into submission until they would salute. People, to get the entire nation to give the Hitler salute was not easy. They had to do parades in the street, and if they gave the salute and you didn't salute, they'd stop the parade, they'd go to the side of the street, and they'd beat you within an inch of your life until everybody was just like, just salute back, man, just salute back. Well, that's what's happening. And the reason why Hitler coalesced all of his power is because at some point they were more trouble for him. They had done the job. Okay? So then he had to get rid of them. So the Night of Long Knives, where he killed all of them, and the people thought he was a hero because they finally got those lawbreakers off the street when he was encouraging them. Any of this sound familiar, Chris Cuomo? God forbid you have power and and access to any long knives in the future, because it sounds like the same exact scenario. We have Kevin. Do I have to use Kevin Joseph Ryan?
You can just go with Kevin Ryan.
Okay, Kevin Ryan. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know if you're a future serial killer or why, but there's a great story out right now about Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin. It's called Jordan Peterson, Dave Rubin, and the Long Distance Call, and it's written by Kevin, who is one of our. I think he's our best writer on staff. He writes for us on the show and also writes these really good long form pieces for The Blaze. You spent several days with Jordan Peterson. What do you think Jordan Peterson would think about Chris Cuomo and the statement of, Antifa is morally justified?
That's a tough one to say. I'm not really sure. I mean, I think if I were to guess, I would think Peterson, who's no fan of the left, would object to it.
Yeah.
I think
he's a peaceful guy.
He is. And that's kind of the misconception that we're hearing a lot, is that he's this kind of rabble rouser, this person who's like trying to stoke the flames and cause this cultural disharmony.
You had a chance to sit backstage at a couple of his shows and also meet with him privately. Did you know who he was? I mean, were you really up to speed on him before you even asked for this interview?
I was, absolutely. Okay. And my entry to Jordan Peterson was his more the psychology side of things, and his kind of like self-help message. Yeah. And his direct message to people, like basically clean your room, get your act together. Very direct message, very, I consider positive. And really, it shouldn't be, there's nothing really revolutionary about that.
No.
It shouldn't be.
No.
But we're kind of living in a time where, for some reason, that is revolutionary to say that to people. Take responsibility.
It's weird to hear, because reading your piece, it's like, you get the sense it's like he's like a rock star.
Yeah,
it's what it feels like. And we were at one of the shows that you wrote about, and it is. That's what it feels like when you're there. But it's like a guy. He's just this guy on stage talking about things that should be for every person.
He's like a smart version of your dad. Or a smart version of your mom. He's saying the things that your mom either said or should have said. Definitely. He's just saying them in a very educated way.
Yeah, but rule one is what? To stand up straight with your shoulders back, I believe is rule one. And he talked about that for like an hour on stage. That was the whole first hour of the show. And I'm thinking to myself, there's 12 of these rules. I have to work tomorrow. But I mean, it was really interesting, and it shouldn't be something that's revolutionary, but in this state of affairs, it is.
When you came away from this, and now that you've had, because this was over a month ago that you met him the last time, what is the thing that you come away with on maybe what surprised you or what settled with you on that's who this guy is?
It's funny. I spent a lot of time getting to the core of this idea, and it's so simple, but it was really a revelation. It's just this idea that he's just a human like the rest of us, and because right now he's vilified and deified in equal measure. And so really the discovery of Jordan Peterson for me was he's just a person like we are, and he's doing something special, but at the end of the day he has the same flaws as we do.
Were you surprised? I was. Were you surprised, because you were with me when we met here? And
that was actually my favorite part. I wish I could have put more of that in the conversation you had with Jordan.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was wonderful.
Having him in person is different than having him on the phone on the air.
Definitely.
With a bunch of commercial interruptions and everything else. And we're going to have an uninterrupted conversation with Jordan Peterson soon, I hope. But I was shocked at how he really didn't know why this was happening.
Yeah.
You know, you remember that?
See that? Yeah.
He asked several times. I haven't figured out what's happening yet. I don't know exactly why this is such a phenomena.
Definitely.
And in watching the show, it's very clear. It's somebody who is measured, smart, somebody who is talking true common sense, eternal principles without all the gobbledygook and everything else. He's just speaking plain common sense, and he's telling people, "You can do this. This is you. This is you. You can do this. Forget about everything else.
Yeah.
You are a good person if you choose to be."
I think of the 3 shows that I went to for the story, he did it best, the one we went to. And it was really, there was an excitement in the air that I didn't really experience at the other 2. It was there, but it wasn't as intense as what we experienced. And it was palpable. You know, like when you were talking to him after, there was just this buzz in the air. And even looking at him, I saw a smile that he had, this energy that I didn't really encounter anywhere else during my reporting. So that was pretty neat.
I think he's a long-term, or is this a flash in the pan?
That's a good question. That's something I confronted the whole time I was doing my reporting. It was like, I don't know. I mean, in this era that we're living, you can't really tell. I mean, I kind of hope so, but
yeah, it's interesting. You get the sense that he is very cognizant of that. You know, when you talk to him, we've talked to him on the air a couple of times, and several times he's made the point of, I'm just trying to get through this and make sure I speak clearly and intentionally, and I don't make a stupid mistake that tears all this good thing down.
He is exceptionally deeply felt. You know, he has deep emotions. He can be brought to tears. By the thoughts in his head. He's a guy who, I think I might have learned this from you. He's a guy who collects. We have actually a lot in common. I collect all this dark stuff in history.
Yeah.
He collects all of the dark art of Soviet history and everything else. Yeah. Why is that?
I think he's trying the same reason that you have read Mein Kampf. He wants to be aware of the darker elements of mankind so that we can avoid going to those darker places, or at least understanding that. I mean, one of his animating ideas is that you have to kind of this Dante-esque journey where you have to descend into hell and move through hell before you can emerge and understand life in a meaningful way.
Do you, because we were sitting next to each other in the show, and I don't know if I said this to you during the show. I know I said it after. I don't even know if I understood the first 20 minutes.
Definitely. I was in the same boat. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and we're pretty, we're fairly educated people, and I had a hard time. How much of his audience do you think really grasps more than 80% of what he's saying? Because he's so deep.
He is. And here's what I really admire about his audience. I think a lot of them do. But even if they only grasped on the bottom line principles, I think he words them so that, like in his words, they're all implementable. Everything he says is, even if it's very abstract, it's something that can be brought to life in a physical, real world way. Just kind of like a counselor would. That advice level, and I think he excels on that level.
And I think that the audience, they know they don't catch it all, and they're intellectually, instead of pretending, they're intellectually honest enough to go, well, I only get about this much of it, but I'm trying to understand the rest. I mean, it is not only he's taking us on a journey that he's been on for a while, but I think everybody in his audience is on that same journey, and they're looking for those same things. And it was nice to be around intellectually honest people.
I agree. That's the word for it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kevin. It's a great story. You need to find it. It's on The Blaze, the front page now of The Blaze. It's a long, how many words?
6,500.
Yeah.
Can you guys do 140 characters next time?
Yeah.
You bet. Yeah.
But it's a great story of what happened backstage. Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson. Check it out on The Blaze now. Thanks, Kevin.
Awesome. Thank
All
you.
right. Sponsor this half hour is Simply Safe. Simply Safe Home Security. Great security system. I don't know why anybody's worried about security. I mean, it's not like anybody is out there saying that, they deserve your stuff. But Simply Safe is the company that will make sure that your stuff remains your stuff. Protecting your family, protecting your stuff. It's Simply Safe. Without all contracts, without any wiring, you actually own the system. It is state of the art, and the nice thing is it's movable. I mean, if you live in an apartment, you can put it in an apartment, and you don't have to drill any holes in anything. You're living in a house, and you're going to move to a new house. You can bring it with you. It's fantastic, and it protects you against intruders, fires, leaks, burst pipes, all of it. And to monitor for police and fire dispatch 24/7, it's only $14.99 a month. So order your Simply Safe system today. Get 10% off. Visit simplysafebeck.com. That's simplysafebeck.com. Get 10% off your home security system at simplysafebeck.com.
Glenn Beck.
Okay, we all heard about that horrible domestic abuse case. Also, Islamic terror camp, where they were training kids, starving them, killing them, or letting them die, and then burying them in the sand behind the little tent there. Those guys, the judge didn't feel they needed to keep them, in prison or, in jail until the hearing. Let them out, but no bail. You just sign your name here and you're gone. So they've let them go. American justice today.
Glenn Beck. Mercury.
Well, as I was getting ready to come into work this morning, I was struck by the juxtaposition of two stories coming out of London today. On one hand, the headline read, "Another terror attack in London." Here's what happened. Two people hospitalized last night after a vehicle intentionally rammed into a group of people outside of Parliament. That spot is a favorite amongst terrorists because people are congregating there. Hey, let's go kill them. In March of last year, 4 people were killed when a jihadist drove his car into the crowd and jumped out and then started stabbing people. One of those people was a police officer. Terror attacks in London have been getting worse and worse and worse. In June, 3 terrorists killed 8 people on the London Bridge, then another attack in August, and then one in September. Now, the first step to recovery, and I say this as a recovering alcoholic, is admitting you have a problem. But the London mayor, Sadiq Khan, doesn't think that it's anything out of the ordinary. He's like, this is no big deal. He actually said that all of the terrorist attacks are simply, quote, part and parcel of living in a big city. Well, yeah, I guess if you're living in Beirut, generally not Western cities. Apparently, Khan's never heard of the 12-step program, and he refuses to admit we have a problem. What he said there was similar to showing up to an addiction meeting, smoking crack, and just like, hang on just a second. Hang on. I have to drink out of this bag to clear my throat because I got a little crack smoke in my throat right now. You can stop at any time. Anytime. You just have to admit you have a problem. I don't have a problem. So if stage 1 is admitting you're having a problem, which they're failing at, never in any addiction program in the history of, forever, would step 2 be celebrate that problem. I got a problem. Alcohol controls my life. Drinks on me, everybody. Okay, so that brings me to the second story, the celebration. Really kind of morbidly amazing. The story on the other side was about the latest terror attack. The story on the right showed British Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn holding a wreath at a cemetery. Now, you're thinking, okay, so what? Big deal. Okay, I mean, he's just holding a wreath. Well, yeah, but he was putting on the grave. Well, that's where a wreath goes, Beck. I mean, it goes on graves. Yeah, except this grave belonged to the terrorists that tortured and killed all of the Jewish athletes in the 1972 Munich Olympics. Okay, but maybe I have a little bit of a problem. We already know how many people on the left, both in Europe and here in America, are trying to make groups like Hamas into peaceful protesting Gandhi-style freedom fighters. We know that Chris Cuomo on CNN did that last night to Antifa. Oh, they're wonderful. Never mind the rockets fired at Israeli citizens, sniper attacks, the fire bombs, the IEDs. You know, I love the explosive balloons, perfect for kids' parties, as long as all the kids are Jewish. But now we're trying to rewrite history, and we're pretending that Munich never happened, wasn't such a bad thing. Black September was a violent, despicable terror group. Hamas is just as bad as they were, and pretending either of them don't exist or that they're just, seriously, they do clown shows for kids' birthday parties, won't stop them from attacking your city. Keep it up, and this morning's attack will just be one of many, many, many more to come.
It's Tuesday, August 14th. You're listening to the Glenn Beck program.
Being blown up is just part of everyday life in any city. Okay, so the guy on the bus next to you has a suicide vest. Who hasn't seen that coming? I don't know. I think you have a problem. Denial. Welcome to the program. What else is on the plate here, Stu? There was something that we were not the R word, not yet.
We were talking about Peter Strzok a little bit.
Peter Strzok.
And the incredible sacrifices he's made for our country.
Did you donate yet?
Oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah.
I did reroute. I hope this is okay. I rerouted my 401k contributions directly to yours.
Whatever you want.
Peter Strzok fan club. A GoFundMe page he started.
So he started a GoFundMe page. Now this is the guy who was fired from the FBI, and now he just wants a big payoff. He wants all of the liberals who will do anything to destroy this president. He wants a big payoff now. And he went on to what do you call it?
Twitter?
No, not Twitter. He set up GoFundMe, and he set up a GoFundMe page. And at first he said, "Look, I've really served my country." And do you have the exact
verbiage? I can pull
this
up here in a
second. It's
second.
really wonderful.
He's never, obviously not a lot of FBI agents are popping on Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a Twitter account set up. He did eventually post one yesterday. Let's see if I can, I think it's
because I feel really bad for him. Now he was fired because the FBI, the internal investigation shows that, he's probably not a good guy, and he probably had it out for the president. And he also may have just overlooked a few things on the Clinton investigation. So now this good, great, decent, honorable man is out, unjustly fired.
This is what his law firm writes. Late Friday afternoon, the deputy director of the FBI overruled the FBI's Office of Professional Responsibility and departed from established precedent by firing 21-year FBI veteran Peter Strzok. In doing so, he reversed the decision of career FBI officials responsible for employee discipline, who concluded through an independent review process that a 60-day suspension and demotion from supervisory duties was the appropriate punishment.
Sure.
The decision to fire Special Agent Strzok is not only a departure from typical bureau practice, but also contradicts Director Wray's testimony to Congress and assurances that the FBI intended to follow its regular process in this and all personnel matters. The FBI and the American people deserve better. And Peter writes, deeply saddened by this decision. It's been an honor to serve my country and work with the fine men and women of the FBI. And then a link to a GoFundMe page, which he wanted to get $150,000. Now, first of all, this is a guy who's been making $100,000 for a long time.
And probably is going to have a pension much bigger than yours for the rest of his life.
Yes. So that's number one. Number two, why would this person have a constituency? Think about this for a second. Yes, he privately tweeted negative things about the president.
Now, in an illicit affair.
And had an illicit affair. But you can understand that the right, people on Trump's side of this argument are not going to like this guy.
Right.
But why on earth, if you're on the left, would you like him? All he has done is discredit this investigation against this guy who you want to be out of office so badly. Like, this is like the ultimate data point taking down whatever comes out of this investigation. He has done nothing but hurt your cause.
Right.
So why would you want to give him $150,000?
Because he made Trump's life miserable. Right,
because he privately texted his girlfriend about how bad he thought Trump was. Now, $150,000 was the goal.
This came out yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Sign on today. What you will, of course, find is the new goal of $350,000 because he went past $150,000 and past $200,000 and is now at $250,000. He's raised $250,000 in one day with one tweet because while he was working, he was texting about the subject of his investigation in a negative fashion.
Now, I want to be very clear that it was definitely not me that put together a GoFundMe page. I think it's wrong, and the person, I guess, who did this for me, what's their goal? What's the goal?
Is this the thing? The goal seems to be $1 billion.
Well, we can always adjust that if we need to adjust.
I don't know if you can go any higher than $1 billion.
Well, it's $1 billion. Just because. Well, go ahead, read the page. I didn't post this. Certainly not. Because I think what Peter Strzok did was wrong.
This is support for Glenn Beck.
Yeah,
Glenn Beck, a man who spent his entire life working to help keep us and our nation safe.
Right. I mean, I didn't write that. If I would have written it, I would have written it in first person. This is obviously a third party.
This is
obviously a third party writing this. I don't know.
Glenn Beck, a man who has spent his entire life working to help keep us and our nation safe, has been contemplating if GoFundMe could provide an authentic way to capture his incredible service to this country.
I don't know. I don't know if it can.
Well, why would it? You're not asking that, though.
But I'm not asking. No. I'm just saying, can money really compensate for what I've done?
He needs your help. For the last year, Glenn, his work and his character have been the target of highly politicized curiosity, including frequent doubts about whether GoFundMe can truly honor his personal sacrifice to the full extent it deserves.
That has been the question on many people's lips.
All funds raised on this GoFundMe will be put into a foldable leather currency receptacle.
This is a very special leather pouch, if you will, that'll be kept. And I will keep it close to me. In fact, I will keep it on my person at all times.
That's quite a promise.
Yes.
And then will be distributed at Glenn's patriotic discretion to local merchants and service providers.
Could you just repeat the beginning of that sentence? Just the patriotic part.
It will be distributed at Glenn's patriotic
discretion.
Okay.
Yes.
We are asking you to support a man who has dedicated his life to defending America.
My whole life. Not part of my life.
No.
My whole life.
Defending America, to stand up for the freedoms of which this country was built in a government that truly serves the people by protecting all Americans, including dedicated government employees from constantly being subjected to the whims and influence of politicians, and fill in other impressive sounding details before posting. And I don't think they finished that one off, but
I'm gonna have to.
We also
I can only do so much. See, this is the problem. You want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Right, and you wouldn't be
But I didn't do that. I wasn't involved in this. I bet that's what that person is thinking.
We appreciate your help by spreading the word about this GoFundMe by sharing this link, GoFundMe.com/support for Glenn Beck. And then it says, Glenn has been here for America. Will America be here for Glenn?
Amen.
Why?
Amen. I'm just saying.
So this is you because of your personal sacrifice throughout your life. A third party, has determined it's appropriate, not you.
Yes.
Appropriate to post a GoFundMe with the goal, by the way, may I state this again, of $1 billion.
$1 billion. And that may not be appropriate. That may not show the proper gratitude for what I, and quite honestly, Peter Strzok have done for this great nation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I want to make sure I understand one thing, though.
Yes.
That you didn't just see that Peter Strzok is struck gold and has raised $250,000 in a day because he's scamming a bunch of people. You're not trying to take advantage of that. I want to make sure I understand what's happening here.
I'm sorry, my headphones cut out just a little bit, so I didn't get that whole question.
Your headphones aren't even in your left ear, which is the one that's closest to me that you can easily hear me on.
Quickly going deaf in that ear. So all I'm saying is I don't know if $1 billion can properly thank me, but I'm willing to try at this humble, great American's request that put this together. And I could tell you that I'm going to spend it. I'm going to give all of the proceeds to the Nazarene Fund. Probably not. No, probably not.
You're not.
No,
because that would really be thanking the Nazarene Fund and not you.
Correct.
Right.
You want to give to the Nazarene Fund? Give to the Nazarene Fund.
Yes.
This one is coming right directly to me. So I'm just saying.
And it will be, again, distributed at your patriotic discretion to local merchants and service providers?
Yep.
That's Well, that's quite... You've taken a brave stand here,
I have.
Glenn.
I have.
And look at what you're doing again.
Well,
once again. So far, you're at $0.
$0. Well, hit refresh. Hit refresh. Because we're well on our way now.
Okay, let's
see. On GoFundMe. How do you find that?
I could tweet it out at World of Stew at Glenn Beck.
All right, okay.
You're sure, even though you're the third party in this, you're just the subject. You did not ask for this.
I didn't. It would be horrible if I would have done it myself.
Yeah, it would have been. You know what? I agree with that.
But as a humble servant of the people, I want to help this guy live his dream by raising $1 billion for me.
Wow, that is brave.
Yeah.
I will tweet it out at World of Stew at Glenn Beck, and it's GoFundMe.com/support for Glenn Beck. It's broken up by dashes, so support -for-Glenn-Beck. But we'll post it.
We got to make that easy because. And hey, listen, if GoFundMe is down because the servers can't handle the volume,
it seems to be fine.
Bookmark it. And
right now it's
go
fine.
ahead and refresh. And what's it up to so far?
Again, the goal is $1 billion.
$1 billion. Peter Strzok did $250,000 in 24 hours. We're gonna. What's it gonna?
It says the total is help launch this campaign and be the first donor. That's the total right now.
All right. There's probably the I think the internet may be down.
Okay.
The entire internet may be down. So we'll check into the internet and I'll call the people who run it and see if there's got to be a problem.
Yeah, it's probably a problem.
Yeah. GoFundMe. Our goal is $1 billion. $1 billion. Peter Strzok did it. 250,000, $250,000 in 24 hours. I mean, think about what he's done for the country. Now think about me. Okay? Just think about me. It's not about you. Okay? This is about me. Is your name on the program? No. You have a GoFundMe page asking for $1 billion? No. It's about me. Your humble servant. Now, American financing. Let's say you want to take out a home loan because you have some equity and you're like, you know what? I'm going to give Glenn some of the equity of my home because of what a great guy he is. Well, that would be a good investment, I'll tell you that. And American financing
What is happening to me?
Can help you now if you're buying a home, or if you're buying your, a vacation home, your first home, your last home, or you're refinancing. I highly recommend that you refinance right now and lock in the interest rate. They're going higher. You'll get a pre-approval letter fast, so you know exactly how much money you can qualify for, and closing in as quick as, I don't even know, 5 days. You can expect it to be much, much faster because all of the underwriting is done there. American Financing, they employ salary-based mortgage consultants, so they're working for you, not for commission. A-plus rating with a BBB, 1,800 Google reviews. It is American Financing. AmericanFinancing.net. You need a home loan, these are the people to go. Go to AmericanFinancing.net. See, I'm still giving right now. I'm still giving. Mm-hmm. AmericanFinancing.net, or call 800-906-2440. 800-906-2440. AmericanFinancing.net.
American Financing Corporation, NMLS 182334, www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
So, that's what this show is about, is bravery.
Is it?
And I think it was very brave of somebody on my behalf, unbeknownst to me entirely, to post that GoFundMe page of $1 billion.
It's quite an honor for someone to think that the work you've put in for this country is worth
for the country, right? For the country, like Peter Strzok, he was working for the country. He's made almost $300,000 in the last 24 hours, and
they're not giving him money because of politics.
No,
they're giving it to him because of the 21 years he served this nation.
He was a servant. Mm-hmm. He was a servant of the people. And
we do have an update here. Elizabeth Fanko has donated $5.
We are $5 closer to my $1 billion plan.
So that leaves you $999,999,995.
I'm looking at the upside. We are on our way. It is a rocket ship to the moon.
Did you say we are on our way? Like
this person who put this together, crazy, humbling thought together, praising me and raising $1 billion for me. They're on their way.
You're listening to the Glenn Beck program.
We have an important phone call to take from Mark in Iowa. Hello, Mark. Go ahead. Mark.
Hello, Glenn.
Hey, how are
you?
you?
As a fellow catastrophist, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
As a fellow catastrophist, I'd like to first greet you and say, may you survive this seemingly pleasant morning.
Yeah, well, seemingly.
But
we're right away from, we're just around the corner from collapse. But go ahead.
Well, which is why I have to bring to light this controversial GoFundMe page that you have that someone has created.
Yeah, not me. Definitely not me. Peter Strzok created a Facebook page or a GoFundMe page. I think it's despicable. $300,000 he's raised in 24 hours. Somebody set this thing up for me, and I'm humbled by it. I am asking for a paltry $1 billion to be raised, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, go ahead.
You should. I'm glad you feel humbled. I would almost feel ashamed that it's only $1 billion for all that you've done for us.
Well, it's my humility. My humility is, gets me every time. Yes, and if only we had a squeegee to just, save that dripping humility that comes off of you. Yeah. Right. Right. I know.
Yes, but I would love to just the light that kind of shone on me as I was listening to this, though, was how. I don't know how you're going to roll all of this GoFundMe page into your new cryptocurrency that I'm sure you're going to be releasing soon.
Maybe. I'm not sure. It's my patriotic duty to spend the $1 billion as it comes in. Now,
those are not your words. That's the words of the GoFundMe page, which says that you must.
Definitely not my words. Say it again.
Why would I say it again?
I'm just saying it's worth repeating.
At your lone patriotic discretion, you will distribute this to local merchants and service providers. So I don't think you can do anything else with it.
I can't.
Maybe the Nazarene Fund you mentioned.
Well, I mean, some people would say that this is just a clever way to not talk about slavery because nobody wants to talk about that. And this is just a clever way of making a Peter Strzok point that we could raise more than $300,000 for an actual cause in, in this case, the freeing of women and children in the Middle East. Okay. And so every dime would go to the Nazarene Fund. But I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is,
well, you're not saying
I'm much more of a patriotic guy than Peter Strzok. The service to my country has been going on for decades.
And to be clear, you're not saying that, right? That's just the page.
I'm channeling the person who, I understand. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm one with the people.
By the way, some big news that has come in, and the money is starting to flow into this.
Starting to pour
page.
in.
It is.
How close are we to our $1 billion goal?
We have $380 now. $380 of our $1 billion goal.
We've raised more money quicker than that for other things.
Yes, so far. Well,
How about this? I'm also not feeling well today. Does that help?
It probably does.
I am not feeling well today.
Maybe you could contact that third party. You don't know who it is, and they could update the page.
They could update the page. I'm feeling rather badly today.
Oh, no.
I see that on GoFundMe, and once you get people by the heart, you can't let them go.
Yeah. You've inspired a few here.
Okay.
31 donors so far.
31,
including
proud Americans.
A $5 donation that just came in.
Yeah, just came in
from the former president of the United States, Barack Obama. Yes.
Obama.
Yes.
Really?
And another $5 donation that has just come in from Peter Strzok.
From Peter Strzok.
He says,
for some reason, I don't believe those
his message says, I love you, Lisa. Which is in this position, the position he's in, with all the focus being on Peter Strzok, you're surprised to see him claim love for his mistress in a GoFundMe post.
Right.
But apparently he did.
I'm hoping that more people start to think, that this is a lie and it's raising money for the Nazarene Fund. But which one's the scam? I don't know.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
We just got a $5 donation from George Soros.
Wow. It's pouring in now.
By the way,
it's pouring
we're up to $526.
$526.
And when I say we, I certainly had nothing to do with it, and you certainly had nothing to do with it, right?
I had nothing to do with it. Of course not.
Okay.
You know me. GoFundMe. How do I even do that? Is that a .com, .org? How would I even find that page, Stu? I don't know.
If you go to my Twitter feed page at World of Stu or at Glenn Beck, you could get a link to it.
Yeah.
Or you can go to GoFundMe.com/support for Glenn Beck.
Yeah.
And that would be.
Did I tell you I'm not feeling well? Not feeling well. I went to ELO last night on my last dollar. My last dollar. Took my family and some friends. I invited everybody I knew, any friend, even distant friend, people that I don't even really kind of like. I had so many tickets, I was just dumping them, and I couldn't think of anybody else that I could invite. So I just had to give some of them away, to strangers, because I couldn't think of anyone else that I would want to spend time with.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a legendary band. I would have really loved to see.
Oh shoot! You were, were available.
Yeah.
Oh, I just assumed that you couldn't go.
Oh,
yeah. Darn it. So I was there on my last dime, not feeling well, of course, because I could be taken at any time. And wouldn't it be a good time to show me how much you appreciate all the patriotic stuff that I've done for the country? That's what this listener is saying, not me. Right. That would be arrogant of me to say something like that.
You would be really arrogant because you'd be saying it about yourself.
Right. But I'm not. Oh boy, I feel like a lung is going. But anyway, what are you up to now on the?
Well, we just got a donation from Che Guevara.
Okay, he's dead.
Which is
all right. This is not helping.
A long time, but $765.
$765.
And this is again. You had nothing to.
Do you remember those shows? Remember the shows we used to do on Fox that you watched and you listened and and how much I did for you, really, to no benefit to myself.
Really?
Yeah. No. Don't believe all that you read about.
Well, because there are some people who are chiming in on this, I've noticed.
Right.
And
What
they
are they
say,
saying?
I like Glenn, but I'm not seeing why someone with his bucks has a GoFundMe page. Just book royalties should keep him cozy.
Well, that's assuming I get paid for books. I'm going to come clean with you. I haven't made $1 off books in a long, long time.
That's not even close to true. It's not even.
Absolutely. I haven't been paid from Simon & Schuster for almost 8 years. You know? Sure, they gave me a check once, but I haven't.
That's different. That's just the way your contract is.
I'm just telling you the truth, okay? They paid me 10 years ago. I haven't seen a dime. I haven't seen a dime since. So.
Oh, this guy says you're worth over $100 million. So anyone who donates to you, even as a joke, is stupid.
Wow.
Part of that's true.
Yeah, part of that is.
Okay, let's get an update.
All right, we have
on the new page. We are up to. Do you have a total there, Marissa? Another person who's. Do we have a total? Because it's not reloading for me.
1,000.
Oh my God.
We are $1,000. We're chipping it away. $1,000 away, or closer to our $1 billion goal.
Yeah, 1,000 plus 1,000 is not $1 billion, so we're not $1,000 away. But
no, we're $1,000 closer though. Mm-hmm. You know, just a few minutes ago, we were $1,000 farther away from $1 billion than we are now.
Do you think that this seems any more pathetic than what Peter Strzok is doing? Because I know you have nothing to do with this, but the person who's raising money for you and to honor your incredible service to this country,
right?
Who gets fired and then Strzok gets fired, throws a tweet up with a GoFundMe link, and then the left all rushes to just pour money. How many resistance millionaires are we going to make out of this thing? How many times are we going to make another millionaire out of some resistance figure who says nasty things about Donald Trump, and then everybody on the left just throws their money at them?
Let me remind you this. Okay, while he was diddling with his girlfriend, he was serving his country by looking the other way. On the Clinton scandal, definitely waiting for the right moment. 6 months later to look into all of the emails that supposedly were deleted, but no, they were actually, right there with him, and he didn't look into it. And diddling with his girlfriend, talking junk and smack about Donald Trump. Doesn't that man deserve $300,000 in free money plus his pension and everything else from... seriously.
Incredible. Even if you are, you just cannot stand Donald Trump, wanted him to lose to Hillary Clinton more than anything in the world, right? If you go back and look at this, the way the reports have come out since, Strzok's hesitance to go into the Wiener files, okay, at the time, delayed that news coming out until 10 days or whatever it was before the election. Now, if Comey would have found out about that earlier, the speculation is he would have looked into it earlier. But it was Strzok who delayed this and made it so close that so the impact may have affected the election results.
Yeah.
So even if you don't like Trump,
Peter Strzok
may have ruined the election for you.
Yes.
All evidence points to the fact that his presence here has been a negative on your efforts to get Donald Trump out of the White House. And yet you're still handing him $300,000.
No, for his patriotic duty.
Because the left just loves the FBI so much.
When you hear my name, do you not automatically also hear
No, that never.
I think so. That's why people are giving in droves right now.
You're right, actually.
The numbers are not reflecting it, quite honestly, but I bet you we are closer to $1 billion than you think.
Well, the internet is it's not fast, right? It's not instant. Okay?
Right.
It takes a delay.
Some processing.
We are getting some donations coming in, $50 from Jay Wright, $5 from Karl Marx, $5 from Rahm Emanuel.
Okay.
$5 from Alex Jones. $10 has just come in from Woodrow Wilson.
Wow, Woodrow.
That's unlikely because you've been critical of him.
But it shows how patriotic I am.
Yeah, I guess so.
That Woodrow is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That is fantastic.
$5 from Saul Alinsky.
He's dead too.
Wow.
Which is weird. There's a lot of checkbooks from beyond happening here.
Yeah. Now here's one that's interesting because Eric Holder has said he's running for president potentially, and he would donate to a conservative figure publicly, but $5 from Eric Holder has
that
just
is
come in.
how unifying I am.
Wow.
Okay, that's how patriotic I am. People from all sides. Some people might be saying that every penny of this is going to go to the Nazarene Fund to help slaves, but I'm telling you right now, I'm spending it at the mall.
Well, I think people like Maggie Brown, who gave $100, might realize that it's going to the Nazarene Fund.
Or
but others, like $5 to Woodrow Wilson again, another $5 from Woodrow Wilson.
Well, Woodrow Wilson he's thinking, he's like, you know what? Then I just thought of something else. Wow, I just thought of another thing he just did.
We have 2 separate donations coming in from Bernie Sanders now. 2 more from Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Another 2 from Woodrow.
That is fantastic.
Wow,
that is fantastic. See how
active.
We are uniting people. Even the people on the left say Glenn Beck is so patriotic that I want him to go shopping. I want him to have this money to do with what he feels is right. You know, whether that's, spending it all on a bar, crack, and hookers. I don't care. He's so patriotic. He deserves it.
I'm seeing multiple donations from Vladimir Putin here, and I'm surprised by that.
If they're $5, Vlad, you and I are going to have a talk because you can afford more. I want you to dig deep, Vlad. I want you to dig deep.
Oh, $5 from Stormy Daniels has just come in.
There we go. There we go. So it's happening, America. We're all coming together for a good cause. Me.
And our first corporate donation, no surprise, Kentucky Fried Chicken has donated $5 to the cause.
Thank you. So
they love you.
They love you.
You want to talk about someone who's done service? You've done a lot of service for KFC.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. I am not only the founder, I am a client. So have you heard of cryptojacking? Cyber thieves now are gaining access to personal computers with malicious emails and simple browsing, using special programs to solve complex math equations to gain a piece of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. The symptoms, like high processor usage, device overheating, or unusually slow response times, you might want to look into those things. There's a ton of threats now that so many people are connected now. We are all connected, and just one weak link and it's over. That's why new LifeLock identity theft protection adds the power of Norton Security to help protect you against the threats to your identity and to your devices that you can't easily see or fix on your own. If you have a problem, their agents are going to work to fix it. Like this guy, I don't know how he got a picture of me to put on the GoFundMe page. He must have hacked in. I don't know.
This is like from a corporate
if somebody's hacking in to do that, I wouldn't have done it myself, of course. LifeLock.com. Call 1-800-LifeLock. Use the promo code Beck for an extra 10% off your first year, plus a $25 Amazon gift card with an annual enrollment. You can do that now at LifeLock. 1-800-LifeLock. 1-800-LifeLock or LifeLock.com. Promo code Beck. I'm getting a little teary-eyed at the outpouring of love here for my patriotism.
Well, I don't know if that's true. I mean, Fred Aiken donated $500, and he may realize that it's going to the Nazarene Fund.
No, I'm going to spend it at the mall.
Also, Cass Sunstein has donated $25.
Well, God bless Cass. I mean,
Pocahontas, $5. Is
Lizzie? No. I understand you don't want to come out and say who you are, but love you. Thank you for that.
It's kind of nice. And Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, a lot of people uniting, bringing the right and the left together. That's what I do best. All because of my patriotism. You can donate at the GoFundMe page now.
Glenn Beck, Mercury.
I want to show you the state of journalism today, and it is going to make you proud. It takes a crack investigative duo, not to be confused with a investigative duo on crack. Although, if they were on crack, it might explain this. It takes two of them to unravel the complicated web of why Brett Kavanaugh is enjoying baseball games with friends while wearing a blue striped polo shirt. The headline from ProPublica reads, "Did you go to a Washington Nationals game with Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh?" Now, that's the headline. But when you...
Did you go with him, or did you see him while you were there? That's a really specific request.
No, you go with him.
Okay.
But you know, that I'm sure those evil people are not going to fess up. So they're looking for people who may have captured him in a picture because, I don't know, he might have been with Lord Voldemort. We don't know. We don't know. Now, if he's with Lord Voldemort, or we all know Hitler survived. What if he was with Hitler at a Washington Nationals game? Okay. Is that possible? Will that stop him from being a Supreme Court justice? Not in Trump's America, I'll tell you that right now. And ProPublica is on it. He may use his dark powers to help protect the unborn or preserve the free market system. He may dare to vote against notorious RBG. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So the public's only hope to stop Kavanaugh is to help ProPublica identify who went to that baseball game or baseball games with him. Because people just don't go to baseball games together for fun. There is I hate to cry foul here, but there is something that smells foul. There's foul play in the air. What evil judicial scheme is Kavanaugh cooking up with his buddies over hot dogs and ballpark nachos? Only the devil could say. Now, according to the ProPublica crack reporters, and yes, again, it took two of them to write this story, a White House spokesman told the Washington Post that sometimes Kavanaugh went to Washington national games with a handful of friends. You and I both know this guy doesn't have one friend, let alone a handful. Who were those dark oil executives? And when I say dark, yes, I mean black. The audacity.
Covered in oil.
Yeah. You didn't think I was making a racist comment, did you?
I did not.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I was.
Oh, go ahead.
The scheme is running much, much deeper than that. Kavanaugh is just the tip of the iceberg. Apparently, Kavanaugh would supposedly buy the tickets using his credit card. Now, I don't know about you, but no good American thinks about buying tickets to a baseball game on a credit card, much less a judge. Would you do it? Are you a judge? No. Then his friends would reimburse him for the tickets. A pay and reimburse scheme among friends. That is almost unheard of. The reporters write, figuring out who Kavanaugh brought to the games could be relevant to his confirmation. Of course, probably not, but it could be. I mean, he may have brought alien life forms who have been plotting against us for all these many years. He may be in with alien life forms. But even more relevant are the questions that they're not asking. And dare I say it, I'm going to do it. Did he buy peanuts and Cracker Jacks? Like the song says, does he actually care if he never gets back? I don't know. The story also mentions that Kavanaugh has been photographed at least twice wearing that blue striped polo shirt. What does it mean? Will we survive? Just keep it here, and you will continue to be addicted to that healthy outrage.
It's Tuesday, August 14th. You're listening to the Glenn Beck program.
Dare I use the R word? Wait, first, can we get an update on my patriotism, please?
Well, yes, thanks to a large $666 donation from Margaret Sanger.
Really? Now, this is the GoFundMe page. Now, I want you to know I did not do this. And if I did do this, I would, of course, be giving every penny to the Nazarene Fund. But I didn't do this. This is somebody else that just wants to point out how patriotic I am. Exactly like Peter Strzok. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, Peter Strzok raised not making this up, $300,000 on GoFundMe because he was fired from his job at the FBI. And he's such a patriotic guy that he got on and he wanted to raise $150,000. When he beat that, he's raised it to $350,000, and he's up to $300,000 now from people for what? So he doesn't worry about having to actually pick up his very generous pension check from the FBI for the rest of his life. Unbelievable. But anyway, he's a patriot. And somebody in this audience thought, Glenn, you are a patriot too. And I think we need to show our love and support and thanks, gratitude, really on their knees kind of gratitude. Again, I'm not saying this. They are. Of all of the wonder, as a thank you for all of the wonderful things that I've done.
And so many people over the years that you've been highly critical of have stepped up to support this effort.
It just shows what a uniter I am.
$5 from Francis Fox Piven
now
has come in.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, some people would say that's just somebody else giving $5 and using her name, but we know that is Francis Fox Piven.
$10 from Joy Behar.
Wow.
$10 from the Tan Colonel Sanders. It's a specific
Tan Colonel Sanders.
$5 from Sally Muckenfudge.
Oh, little Sally Muckenfudge.
Yes.
Did she ever get her eyes? Because she didn't have any eyes, and I know we've raised money for her little Sally Muckenfudge in the past.
$10 from Black Lives Matter. See, reaching across
all races, all creeds.
And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who needs the money for her campaign.
Sure. How much did she give?
$20.
$20.
Too. She actually, these are confirmed.
She actually meant $200,000, but she's not that good at math.
No.
And
by the way, $5,437 now for the Nazarene, or for your
for my patriotic
spending around the neighborhood.
So how much? Boy, I'm losing my voice. Sorry, I went to a concert last night, and some would say that the music was so loud that you could not hear yourself singing even at the top of your lungs.
Wow.
And it was the best way to go to a concert. When you can't tell how bad you're off key, it's perfect, because now you feel like you belong on the stage. Anyway, so how much do we have going for our $1 billion Thank You Glenn fund?
Well, we're only $999,994,563 away from our goal of $1 billion.
That doesn't sound close.
But you have raised $5,437.
All right. Well, Peter Struck.
I mean, not you.
Not me. No. I'm
sorry.
This great listener or whoever that strangely has all of my information and photos of me that he must have hacked into my computer. Anyway, he has put this together, and it's beautiful.
You're still behind Peter Struck, who's raised $264,000.
Okay, I'm going to be hurt, America. I'm going to be hurt because, again, if I were raising this for women and children who are slaves, hey, let's raise $300,000 in the next 24 hours, I'd get it. Okay, I'd get it if we didn't make it. Okay, so it's a bunch of children who are slaves from ISIS and, women who are being raped all the time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. How many times do we have to hear about that? This is about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is about giving $300,000 or more to me as a thank you for my patriotism. Like Peter Struck has been thanked by so many. So
it's an interesting reaction on Twitter. Some people thinking this is a frivolous effort.
What do you mean?
They're like, well, you move on from your GoFundMe page. You're just trying to get money in your pocket.
Yeah.
No,
I'm going to the mall.
Right.
I'm taking all of this. If I get the $1 billion, I am going to the mall, and I'm going to buy the mall.
And that will help create jobs.
Yeah. I'm going to close it down. I'll buy the mall, and I can only shop there. And there are I may keep some employees just to ring things up.
It's interesting, though, that you'd think the Nazarene Fund would be a frivolous thing to talk about.
Well,
but again, you're keeping this money, not giving it to the Nazarene Fund. So we
don't want to talk about the Nazarene Fund because honestly, every time I talk about it, I know people are like, oh, geez, I can't listen to it anymore. And it's really hard to talk about. Nobody wants to deal with it. So that's not what we're doing here. We are raising money because everybody's favorite subject is, of course, me and my patriotism. And
I mean, you do talk about it a lot.
A lot.
So, I mean, somebody's favorite topic.
Well, look how many people listen. You know what I mean? They love hearing about me.
They sure do.
Yeah.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Glenn, and that's how amazing that this
That's why on a national radio program in just an hour, we can raise $5,000. You know, some would say that's probably the worst we've ever done on one of these things. But as I said, okay, I'm going to come clean with you. I wasn't at a concert last night.
Okay.
I have really bad, well, it's not throat cancer. It's worse than that. And it's all in my throat. And it's just cutting. I'm slowly bleeding to death. And if I had this money, I could find a doctor that could help me, because I can't afford health insurance, because this country is just going to let me die.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem.
And so I need this money. And also, not a lot of people know this. I have a child without a face that I've personally been trying to help out and get this kid a new face. But I could use your help.
Oh,
Children without faces.
Children without faces.
And I'll make a donation to them too. All I need is $1 billion.
We'll get that put together.
Okay. By the way, so there is a story in Forbes magazine, and here's the. This is both good news and bad news. The R and C word enter the vocabulary of Bitcoin enthusiasts. Okay, so I saw that headline. I'm like, what is the R and the C word? Here it is. The R and the C word, rehypothecation and commingling, are antithetical to how Bitcoin works, as they are integral to how Wall Street works. Okay. Stu, long-standing prediction on this program.
Yes, you've many times stated that if you start seeing the word rehypothecation in news stories, it's time to run for the mountains.
Yes, yes. So this is two words that are entering the vocabulary of Bitcoin enthusiasts, and soon they will roll off tongues as freely as the term fiat currency does today, thanks to the entry of Wall Street incumbents into Bitcoin. Because rehypothecation and commingling are pervasive Wall Street practices that enable financial systems to create more claims to an underlying asset than the underlying assets. So they're saying now that this is going to become a very well-known term, and I don't think my prediction works for this. Because I have said, if you know what rehypothecation is, in a nutshell, and I'm going to butcher this, but I'm sorry, I am no Alexandria Cortez, Ocasio-Cortez, or whatever my name is.
You don't have a BU degree in economics.
No, I have an FU degree in economics. But anyway, so what rehypothecation is let's say I have a bar of gold. And the bar of gold is worth $1,000. And so I want to borrow on that $1,000. Okay. So Stu, I need to borrow $1,000 from you, and I'm going to use this gold as my collateral.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Stu gives me $1,000. So now I have $1,000. He's out $1,000, but this bar of gold is there in case I default. Right? We all know how that works. Now, Stu says, I have this bar of gold, and I want to borrow from another bank $1,000. And they say, do you have the bar of gold? And you say, yes. Well, I don't have it, but I have this piece of paper. So if they default, I'll get the bar of gold. But they're not going to default, so I have their paper. All right, so I need to borrow $1,000 and use this piece of paper, which represents this bar of gold. I need to borrow $1,000. That bank then writes Stu a check for $1,000 based on the bar of gold that I said I would give to Stu in case I default.
So now there's been $2,000 loans on one bar of gold.
Yes, so it's worth $1,000. You've already given me its full worth. Now you've sold it again, and so now there's $2,000 riding on something that's worth $1,000. Now that bank goes to another bank and says, I have this bar of gold. I need to borrow $1,000. Well, where is the bar of gold? Well, I don't have it. Stu's bank has it. Okay, so Stu's bank has the bar of gold? No, actually, Glenn Beck has the bar of gold. But if he defaults, then Stu will have the gold. And then
Stu defaults.
Stu defaults, then I'll have the bar of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that doesn't work. Okay.
Because now you've made $3,000 worth of loans on a $1,000 bar of gold.
And they do this hundreds of times. Rehypothecation. They sell the same thing over and over and over and over again. So when the crap hits the fan, the question is, who actually owns the bar of gold? Is it me? Well, no, I defaulted. Well, then it's Stu. Well, no, because now he's defaulted. Is it the other bank? Who actually gets the asset? Because everyone's using that as collateral. So they've made $100,000 worth of loans on $1,000 asset. Okay. Now, if it's a house, not a bar of gold, if it's a house, if everybody starts to default, that asset is not even worth $1,000 anymore. It might be worth $200. What happens to the rest of the money? This happens with loans, with banks. It's why you really need to keep all of your records, because when rehypothecation really starts, who owns your house? Do you own your house? Who owns your house? Who owns the stuff? Because a lot of people are going to claim that they own it. So who owns it? Where it really gets bad is the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury has done this, we think, to our gold. We have gold in Fort Knox. No, we don't. We have gold in the Federal Reserve. No, we don't. Is that our gold, or is that Germany's gold? Or is that France's gold? Switzerland's gold? Whose gold is it? I'll give you more on this here in just a second. I'm not sure this counts, but if it does, head for the mountains. Head for the mountains. Speaking of all of this, that's one reason why I have gold. I have gold because rehypothecation is real. And when it happens, what's real? What's not? What's your money worth? What's your house worth? Goldline will be worth more. That's why I used the gold thing, and I said, if it's a house, it's not $1,000. If it's gold, it'll probably be worth $100,000. Goldline has a new product now, minted by the Royal Canadian Mint, and it's called the Maple Flex Bar. And it's actually made for this kind of a scenario because it's not just, if it's gold, if this scenario, rehypothecation, happens, gold is going to be worth so much you're never going to be it. What are you going to do with an ounce of gold? It'll be worth, $25,000. You need something that you can actually barter with. And the Royal Canadian Mint has made these at our request, and you just snap them off, and they're little teeny 1/4 ounce, 10 ounce, 1/10 ounce, 1/20 ounce bars of silver, only available from the Royal Canadian Mint and through Goldline. Call them for more information. Visit Goldline now, 1-866-GOLDLINE. Do not be caught with your pants down on rehypothecation. 1-866-GOLDLINE, 1-866-GOLDLINE or goldline.com. I don't know if we're going to have a chance to get to the Keith Ellison domestic abuse story. It is pretty remarkable how that's being treated. Also, doing Happy, the Farrell song, Happy, in Tehran, scored some very nice ladies, 91 lashes and 6 months in prison. So we'll give you that. And how Apple says one of their brand new buildings is only worth $200, not the reported $384 million in San Francisco. Give you that coming up. Welcome to the program. Pat and I went to ELO last night, and we saw We just invited every friend we could possibly imagine. I couldn't think of anybody else to go
Not
with.
a single person.
I said to Pat, I said, I have tickets. I'm dumping them.
Yeah.
Who else could we invite?
How many did you throw away? Like 30 or something?
I said, who else could we invite? And
we couldn't think of anybody.
Not even somebody that we kind of barely like.
Really? Yeah, because I was available last night. I was
anyway.
Open
the show was really good.
It was really good.
It was really good.
Really good.
Yeah, it should have been there. It was.
It's too bad we couldn't find
tickets,
people for all those seats.
Yeah,
because we were
dumping them. We actually burned about 20 of them. Just
why would you? Why would you
nothing
throw
else
them
to
out? I don't understand why you take the time to.
It was. I put this into the best pop concert, best rock concert I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's got to be in the top.
One. I mean, I try to think. The only concert I think
it's great.
Yeah, the only concert I've ever seen that was I thought better was Michael Bublé, but Michael Bublé is in a different category entirely.
Yeah,
I mean this was a stadium show, and it was from start to finish. It was unreal.
The one disturbing part of it was as I looked around at that crowd and I thought, why are all these old people here?
Yeah.
And then I realized, wait,
I'm part of that crowd.
I'm one of them.
I looked at the crowd last night and I thought to myself,
it had to be an average of 60.
Yeah, maybe 50, 60. There were surprisingly a lot of young people there too.
There were some.
Yeah. But I looked at the crowd and I thought to myself, wow, we as a group of fans have not aged well.
No, we haven't.
We have not aged well.
We haven't.
We used to be cool. Well, some people used to be cool. And last night we kept all of that hidden under wrinkles and age and white hair and
dorkiness. To see people who are, probably 60, 65 now, trying to do the dancing stuff that they were doing when they were 18 and watching ELO.
There was a lady.
Sad.
There was a lady who. There was a lady who had
a relationship with a pole.
She did. She, the stair poles. The handrails.
She had a relationship with it.
I swear to you, she had a relationship with it. She thought she was a stripper.
And she had to be in her 60s,
and it was disturbing. My son just looked over and elbowed me, and then looked up at me, and I looked over. And I said, "Dear God," and he said, "Dad, I'm never going to be able to see that." I mean,
no.
I will always remember my first concert now because of that.
That was his first concert?
That was his first concert, yeah.
You brought him to ELO for his first concert, and he saw a 60-year-old stripper. That was what he's going to remember.
He actually is a huge fan.
Of ELO?
Huge fan. He knows all the words, and I've indoctrinated them. Oh, I have. So, but it was great. If you have a chance to see ELO, I've waited since 1976 to see them. I've never seen them.
Is this? Have they not toured in a long time, or what's?
They don't. Well, they weren't really touring a lot, were they?
Jeff Lynne wasn't with them for a long time.
Yeah,
okay.
and he's the man. I mean, he wrote all the songs.
I think he's the only person from the original, but he's the only one you need.
Yeah.
He
and it's on the albums. He plays every instrument. When he goes in to record, he plays every instrument. He is ELO. Yeah.
But this band that he's compiled to go with him on this, they might be better than the original ELO.
They're great. It sounds exactly like the songs you've listened to for 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, exact. And the guy has made a pact with the devil. He's 70, and he looks exactly the same.
Yeah. It's weird.
There's something up with that. There's something up with that because it's not working on the audience.
On the screen, he does a couple of Traveling Wilbury songs, and on the screen behind him, he's showing scenes from the Traveling Wilburys when they were together in '87, and he comes up on the screen, and then you look at him on stage there. And you can't tell any difference.
Yeah.
And if you saw him up close, you could. But
it's Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, who's dead, Roy Orbison, who's dead,
George Harrison, who's dead.
I mean, and you look at this guy's career, the songs that he has produced or written. I mean,
it's a soundtrack of my life.
It is extensive. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I mean, it's so much George Harrison's songs, so much of what we grew up listening to. Most people don't know. He either wrote or produced outside of ELO. He's a remarkable man. Probably
he's a genius.
Yeah, he's a genius. He's probably one of the most influential people of our lifetime that's still alive, and you're able to see him.
Do you feel regret though that you went to that concert and enjoyed it with all of your friends that you could possibly think of to invite?
Every single one.
Instead of obsessing over like the Omarosa phone call tapes, like you could have done that instead. You could have been home.
We were thinking about that in our head, though.
Yeah.
We were
really?
thinking about it. Yeah,
because it seems like that would be a much better way to spend your time.
See the latest tweet too, by the way, from the president.
No.
When you give a crazed, crying lowlife a break and give her a job at the White House, I guess it just didn't work out. Good work by General Kelly for quickly firing that dog.
Oh, now they're saying that dog is racist.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
CNN is reporting that dog is.
He's called many people dog.
Is there any other way to analyze anything? Now they're saying every time he calls someone stupid that it's a black person, which is did he just become racist after he got elected? Like he was calling everyone he called Glenn stupid 20 times. He called
that's not necessary.
I mean, and he was right on that one, but I mean, he's not right on all of them. But I mean, every
he only
candidate
said it because he's orange and I'm white.
Well, I don't know. You guys both seem like you're a little orange. I don't think it's that, but it will be interesting to see that they have that thing where wherever he is an opponent of someone is the person he calls dog and stupid. So if he happens to be at one particular moment against an African-American person like Omarosa, he's going to call that, or Maxine Waters. Those are the people who've been attacking him lately, so he's calling them stupid and dogs. And when it was Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and Fiorina, right, then it was them. It's just whoever else.
So stupid.
You just wonder, though, is there no one in the White House that can help him get a grip on it? So we don't have to go through this every time.
No,
I don't think anybody can. I mean, this is cataclysmic at CNN. The dog thing.
But that's
still the CNN.
Over that.
They are so done. They're just hanging themselves. They just really are. Did you see? Did you see what Chris Cuomo said last night?
I think yes.
About Antifa?
Yeah.
Is that
unbelievable?
Unbelievable. Where, hey, look, if you're a member of Antifa, if you're standing up against the Nazis, well, wait a minute. What? If you're standing up against the Nazis and you're in Antifa and you're throwing the first punch even, I mean, legally no difference, but morally, there's a huge difference. No. He's fine with the violence. He's fine with the violence. The press,
you said that didn't measure up to the bigotry.
Right. The press was actually was treated and manhandled. Some of them had their equipment taken and destroyed. They're fine with that. But you say CNN sucks.
Yeah.
You are a danger to all of us. We're all going to get killed. It's unbelievable.
Did you hear this latest clip from the supposed Omarosa tapes that the media is trying to make a big deal out of? It's fascinating because the headline of it is Katrina Pearson, you remember the spokesperson for Trump during the campaign, said on a phone call that Trump did say the N-word. That's the headline that's going everywhere. Yes, he said it.
Let's play the tape.
I don't know. Do we have the tape?
We have the tape.
We have multiple. I don't know if we have that tape here handy. We have multiple tapes. Do we have it?
Sarah, do we have it? We're looking for
I don't think we have. I don't think we have that tape, but that one just came out fairly recently. So they're saying this, and so then you listen to the tape. And the tape is they are discussing the potential possibility of a tape where
led
Trump
by Omarosa,
right? Where they say, "Hey, is there a tape?" One of the advisors said, "I asked Trump if there's a tape of him saying the N-word. Would that be possible if there was a tape?" And he said no. And then now we got to figure out though, if something like this comes out, how do we spin it again? So this is a PR conversation where they're trying to figure out how to spin a tape they've not heard. Okay, so
and they don't know it even exists. In fact, everyone is denying that it. Everybody in the room says it doesn't exist.
Right,
but in case it does,
right, and then Katrina Pearson said, she's like talking in Trump's voice almost, and she says, "Yes, he said it, and he regrets it," like that. So like she's saying, my response in this situation would be, yes, he said it, but he regrets it. But he wasn't. No one had heard the tape. Now there are claims that the tape exists, Omarosa is saying
they
all
also
sorts
have
of things,
tapes of him, being peed on by hookers. Come on,
right? It's like
and they
there's nothing
supposedly
there.
had it for 2 years. Are you telling me they wouldn't have released that?
Please,
in the last 2
Of course.
years, if they could have,
this is
They could have
ridiculous.
stopped him from maybe being elected president. With that tape.
CNN ran a headline last night. Why isn't Omarosa's book number one? Because nobody believes her. Everybody knows she is a conniving witch. She was on The Apprentice. Nobody liked her. Nobody trusted her.
The only person in America who seemed to think anything positive about her was Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Everyone else, the whole staff hated her.
Right.
Everybody on the show hated her. The only person who thought she was any good was Donald Trump, which, again, to his detriment. Again, how many times have we talked about these advisors that he throws in there that seem terrible? I mean, luckily now, basically all of the really bad ones are gone.
Yes.
All the ones we were warning about during the campaign. I mean, I can't think of any exception off the top of my head. There's probably one or two I'm forgetting. But most of them are all gone.
The big ones are gone now.
Yeah, they're all
big
gone.
Ones are gone.
And then they've sorted through them, which is a real positive. I mean, Steve Bannon and Manafort and Flynn and Lewandowski and, Pearson and Omarosa.
Did you hear the tape yesterday where Donald Trump was talking to her and he's like, "What happened?"
Yes.
Omarosa. Okay. We'll know if he really is really lying. I mean, he knows it and he's lying. I think there's lots of things that he does where he believes it. He's somehow or another convinced himself that that's the truth. There were more people there. It's not true, but he's somehow or another convinced himself. I think that's when he sounds kind of convincing. Here he knows he's lying and he's acting. Do we have that tape?
We do. This is the Omarosa tape 2.
Omarosa, what's going on? I just saw on the news that you're thinking about leaving. What happened?
General Kelly came to me and said that you guys wanted me to leave.
No, I nobody even told me about it.
Oh.
Nobody. They run a big operation, but I didn't know it. I didn't know that. I don't love you leaving at all.
I love that. He's like, I didn't know it. Damn it. It's so...
Now
it's powerful.
It's powerful. Powerful piece of acting.
Yeah, you can sense the passion.
They bleeped it because it's a GD.
Yeah.
But to hear his actual pronunciation, he's like, he's so frustrated. He just can't believe they got rid of her.
And it's
only I had some say in this stuff.
It's funny. Only I had some power in this house.
I mean, look, they're totally right. Kelly was right, and Trump was right to get rid of Omarosa. She should have never have been there.
Yes,
in the
and
first
the
place.
president. I mean, look, the president shouldn't be doing those things unless it's somebody who answers. Unless it's General Kelly. Somebody who answers directly to him, somebody else should be making those cuts. General Kelly should be making those cuts. And let the president go, And
that fakey call you just heard is actually a smart move. You go to her and hopefully you get some goodwill from Trump to her so she doesn't do what she's doing now.
Right.
Which is going around and running around and saying all sorts of terrible things, which most of them are completely unproven.
Right.
And there's no evidence to support.
I mean, whoever thought this book would sell, moron. Whoever thought this book would sell is an idiot.
Unless,
who?
Yeah, the only thing...
Nobody likes her. Nobody believes her.
I mean, look, the Michael Wolff thing, I don't think people believe that either, but it sold a lot of copies. So you could see potentially how they might think it. If she had an unbelievable
I think the Michael Wolff thing sold a lot of copies in the first few days because people were giving it credit for the first few days.
Well, people bash the Michael Wolff book, and there's reasons to bash it. However, it's the main reason why Steve Bannon is out of the circle of Donald Trump. So it's a real positive from that front because, Bannon on the record to Michael Wolff told him lots of things that were ridiculous.
Yeah, and it was interesting because you knew it was Steve Bannon, and so you could learn something about Steve Bannon.
Omarosa has no credibility.
You're not learning anything about Omarosa that you didn't already know. She's She connives?
Yeah.
She backstabs? She lies? Shut up.
By the way, can I still contribute to the GoFundMe page?
Oh, yeah. For my patriotism?
Yeah. Nobody knows better
I
what I do about your incredible patriotism.
Thank you.
One of your kidney stones, Pat, earlier donated $5.
Yeah, Kidney Stone is really active on Twitter. I'm not surprised.
Okay.
It's just one of them, though, Gabe?
Just one of them.
Yeah. The rest of them are tightwads. But I appreciate it, Pat. You know, some people say we're only, we're only doing this to, beat Peter Strzok, who's raised $300,000 in the last 24 hours.
But your goal is $1 billion, right?
Yes, $1 billion. You can do that at GoFundMe now. All right. Let me tell you about our sponsor this half hour, ZipRecruiter. Hiring is a challenge. You know, you could end up with an Omarosa. You want somebody that is smart. You want somebody who is right there in line with your goals. The place to connect to those people is ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter.com/Beck. You can try it for free. Now, they send your job applicant or the job posting out to 100 different leading job boards. But that's where everybody else stops. ZipRecruiter uses powerful matching technology to scan thousands of resumes to find the people with the experience that you're looking for, the right fit, and then they go out and they invite them to apply for your job. This way, 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get the quality candidate in the first day. Try it for free, ZipRecruiter.com/Beck. Again, free, ZipRecruiter.com/Beck. Hey, coming up today at 5 o'clock only on the Blaze TV, we're going to talk about the death of comedy, the introduction of politics, and the survivors of that onslaught. Today, 5 o'clock only on the Blaze TV.
Glenn Beck. Mercury.